On October 3rd, Kenai Peninsula voters will decide whether commercial cannabis operations should be allowed in the borough outside the city limits. The whole discussion on the Kenai Peninsula began immediately after the passage of Proposition 2, which authorized the use of recreational cannabis in Alaska. The proposition included a clause that allowed local governments to opt out of allowing commercial cannabis operations, called the local option. Fundamentally, the local option clause allows cities and boroughs to opt out of allowing commercial cannabis operations within their borders if they choose to do so. The Kenai Peninsula Borough Assembly discussed several options to do so, but ultimately decided not to, and the administration moved forward with a marijuana task force to develop Kenai Peninsula Borough-specific regulations for marijuana. These regulations were finalized in 2016, just before the first cannabis licenses were granted. However, in early 2016, just as the borough was finalizing the regulations, a group of citizens came forward to ask whether the borough could ban commercial cannabis anyway in the end. The assembly discussed an ordinance to do so, but ultimately killed it before introduction due to the objection of citizens and the cannabis industry at the time. A group of citizens began gathering signatures through a petition process to put a ballot initiative before voters asking whether commercial cannabis operations should be allowed in the borough outside the cities. The group failed to receive enough signatures to make it onto the October 2016 ballot, but gathered enough signatures to be validated for the October 2017 ballot.
If we could go back to a time, if we would have realized the dangers of smoking at a point before tobacco became big tobacco, would we allow that to be marketed to our community, to our children? I don't think so. This is a health issue, a public policy issue.
If we keep grouping every single drug mankind uses into one lump sum, how are we ever going to get anywhere? I think it is extremely important that we pay very close attention when people start trying to group a bunch of things or items underneath one overarching umbrella, because that immediately smacks of some sort of control factor being placed.
To be clear, the only people who can vote in this election are those who live in the borough outside the existing city limits. License holders within existing city limits will not be affected. A group called Keep Cannabis Legal of cannabis industry participants and supporters has been conducting community events all summer to educate and to encourage people to vote no on this proposition. A no vote means that a voter wants the cannabis industry to be able to continue to operate and would defeat the proposition. A yes vote means that the voter believes that the cannabis industry should be banned in the borough outside the city limits. The Kenai Peninsula would not be the only municipality to have banned commercial cannabis should Proposition 1 pass, nor is it the only one considering it in a vote this fall. There are, however, a number of questions that remain, including the technicalities of closing down the between 20 and 30 businesses currently operating on the Kenai Peninsula, and the elimination of an estimated 100 jobs, according to industry proponents.